Today's Wednesday, Yud Gimel Sivan Tavshin Ayin Gimel, and we are in Teres Menachem Sefer Mamarim, Tavshin Yud Aleph, Tavshin Yud Beis, in the Mamar of Shabbos Pashas Eikev, in Vehaya Eikev Elul, Tavshin Yud Aleph, Vehaya Eikev Tishme'un, and we are on page Kuf Chof Zayin, in the second paragraph on the page, Ach, and we are seven lines from the bottom. The line starts Inyan, and we're by the full stop, by the Zehu. The Rebbe is explaining here the difference between the terms hiskashrus and dveikus, being tied and cleaving. Being tied to something denotes a greater separation between the two entities that are tied together, or rather a greater separation, and also a greater individual identity to each of the two that are tied together. Whereas dveikus means that there is a far smaller distinction between the two. They are basically one and the same, similar to the luminary and the light that comes from the luminary. The difference between hiskashrus and dveikus, these two terms, in relation to the neshama, is the difference between the neshama, the soul, as it is above, in which case it is dovuk, it cleaves to God, to godliness, whereas the neshama down here is hiskashrus, is tied to God and to godliness. And that is what the Zohar says, Klas kshorim hiskashron dabedo, there are three knots that are tied together, and it talks about the neshama. That's what it talks about. It's a reference to the neshama the way it is down here.
What are the three knots?
Yisrael, Ereis HaKadosh, the Jewish people, the Torah, and God. So it would seem from all of this that there's a greater quality, an obvious greater quality, in the neshama, in the soul, as it is above, in terms of its dveikus, in terms of its connection, its cleaving to Hashem. Says the Rebbe, nonetheless, there is a added quality in the mode of connection of the neshama to godliness down here, when it is connected in the mode of hiskashrus, being tied rather than cleaving. Concerning which it says, Shechayra ani v'nova b'nei Yerushalayim, I am darkened, yet attractive, daughters of Jerusalem. And the Rebbe went in to discuss that b'nei Yerushalayim, daughters of Jerusalem, is a reference to the neshamas, to the souls as they are above, specifically as the neshamas are at the level of Malchus the Atzilus. Malchus of Atzilus, the last of the 10 spheres, the 10 divine attributes, as they are in Atzilus. So the Malchus Atzilus is called Yerushalayim. Shechina, Malchus is Shechina. Shechina was present in Yerushalayim. And B'nai Yerushalayim is a reference to the souls as they are in Malchus Atzilus, at the level of Malchus Atzilus. Not beyond Malchus Atzilus, because beyond Malchus Atzilus, higher than Malchus Atzilus, the soul is already not discernible. It's difficult to discern between the soul and the godliness, because the presence of the godliness is so powerful there, and the neshama is so buttal, so nullified, that it's difficult to say the term, there is someone who loves, there is someone who fears. B'nai Yerushalayim also is a reference to the fact, Yerushalayim, as I said, is Yerushalayim, the perfect state of fear of God, and the neshama is in its perfect state of awe and fear of God, where? Lamaila, above, in Malchus Atzilus, in the level of Malchus Atzilus. Down here, it's already more difficult. So, this is the interpretation of the pasuk, Shechayra ani v'nova b'nei Yerushalayim, I am black, I'm darkened, which shows a lower level of distance from godliness, and nevertheless I'm attractive. B'nei Yerushalayim, the daughters of Jerusalem, the souls. So the Rebbe now goes in ahead and spells it out. This is the meaning of the verse in Shir HaShirim, in the Song of Songs. That the soul says, I am darkened and attractive. Daughters of Jerusalem, Hainu, Shanasham, Mishalamata Emeres. This is the neshama from below, saying, Ela neshama de lamayla, to the neshama above, Shenikra is B'nai Yerushalayim. So B'nai Yerushalayim is, as we said before, the souls as they are above. I am darkened and attractive, yet attractive is the soul as it is below. So the soul below says to the soul above. The soul above being the daughters of Jerusalem. So Shcheirani, I am darkened, I am in a state of darkness and the concealment of the light. Lihiyesa, why does it refer to itself as darkened? Since the soul is since it is in a mode of being torn away, from the essence, the very essence of God's infinite light, God's infiniteness. So not only is it torn away, the soul down here is torn away, separate from the essence of Hashem. The soul is also separated from its own source above, from the level of B'nai Yerushalayim, the daughters of Jerusalem. Why? Because the soul down here is not in a state of perfect awe, of complete awe of godliness. Why? Because it's quoted before from Tanya, and the Rebbe quotes it here again. Because even if a person is, excuse me, a tzaddik gomor, a perfect tzaddik, a complete tzaddik down here, the soul, the person will not reach the quality, the level of the soul's cleaving to Hashem, with fear and love of God, as it is above. Because the body cannot tolerate such great revelation. So therefore the soul, even a tzaddik down, a perfect tzaddik down here, where he has actualized and brought his soul to its greatest state of perfection, in fear and in awe of God, right? Nevertheless, the fear and awe of God that the soul has above is at a far greater level. Over there it's dveikus, cleaving, and here, down here, you can only have iskashrus. There's still some kind of a separation between the two. The soul down here from Hashem, and the soul down here from the soul the way it is above.
So why do we talk about such a high level of Atzilus? When now you say that, just ordinary tzaddikim don't have this level of awe and fear. And then you take us to such a high level of Atzilus.
What the Rebbe is trying to explain over here is that there is, that on the one hand, the Rebbe is bringing out how perfect and how great is the level of the soul above. But nevertheless, we know it's obvious, Hashem created the world, and He created people. One second.
The soul above is totally unified with Hashem.
Yes, but and notwithstanding that, Hashem created the world and sent the soul down here, and this is the ultimate purpose. So what's the point?
Right.
That's the question that the Rebbe. That's the Rebbe's question. That's exactly what the Rebbe is trying to say here. So what's the point of it? So the Rebbe says there is an added quality that we get to specifically from the soul coming down here, notwithstanding the great level that the soul is at before it comes down into this world. There is something unique and great that takes place as a result of the neshama coming down here and serving Hashem in the concealments and in the state of separation and so on and so forth, for which it is worthy, it's worthwhile and important to send the soul down here to accomplish its mission in life. The Rebbe is in process of spelling it out.
That's all fine, but we've got 3 more levels to consider.
You talk about Bri, Yitzir, and Asiyah.
Yeah.
So the Rebbe obliquely referred to that earlier when he said that there is the soul at the level of Tehoirahi.
We know that the soul down here is very different from the soul level. So why have to go into 4 different levels?
The Rebbe is not intent here on specifying the level of the soul. The Rebbe is taking the 2 extremes: the soul above and the soul below. These are the 2 poles.
Easier to follow.
Right. But that's the point he's trying to make. There is, of course, you need Bri Yitzira in between as well.
As you said, soul above the soul
Correct.
below. That's easy to follow.
Right. So that's the contrast that Rebbe is trying to make in order to get to the point. What's the point of sending down the neshama into the body? To toil and to have all these concealments and to struggle to reveal itself and so on and so forth. If even the greatest tzaddik who serves Hashem in the greatest state of perfection possible will not reach the levels of the soul, of the soul's cleaving to godliness as it is above. So what's the point?
Not much hope for us.
Wait, let's see what the Rebbe says. Vatsu says the Rebbe like this: since even by a perfect tzaddik, his soul is present and exists within his body, and the body naturally cannot handle the revelations of the soul as they are above. Hari moving is understood on the top of page that the soul as it is below is far from the level of being in a perfect state of fear of God. And not only is it far from being perfect, even more so. That the soul finds itself in an arid and thirsty land without water. The metaphor being starved of godliness. How do we know? Because when the soul comes down into the body, the human being, the person is able, God forbid, to transgress on a matter of a mitzvah, a positive mitzvah. A person could also transgress a mitzvah, a negative mitzvah, an inactive mitzvah. How is that possible? The soul, the way it is in Malchus Atzilus, cannot transgress God's will. When the soul comes down into the body, it's possible for the human being to transgress. Why is that? Because not only is the soul not in a state of perfection, in its awe of God, the way it is down here, but even more so, the soul finds itself in a land starved of godliness. That's the concealment we're talking about. Notwithstanding all of this, notwithstanding all the deficiencies, as just great, so wonderfully, so powerfully articulated by the Rebbe, nonetheless, notwithstanding all these deficiencies that the soul possesses when it comes down into the body down here, nevertheless, the soul below says to the soul above, I might be dark, I might be in a state of concealment, I might be not be perfect, and perhaps even less than perfect. Nevertheless, v'novo, I am attractive, I am beautiful. Why? Because only, specifically, by being down here, the soul is in the ultimate state of beauty and attractiveness. Attractiveness and beauty. Why? Because as a result of the concealments and the covers that exist down here in this physical world, where the neshama, where the soul comes down, specifically through that, the soul is awakened with a thirst to godliness. And it's awakened with a love like coals of fire. This is the ultimate state of beauty when it comes to loving Hashem. The love, once you break through those barriers, those concealments, is so much more powerful than the soul above. Why? Not so, which is not the case when the soul is above. There are no concealments. So therefore, it doesn't possess this thirst to godliness. The love is far more powerful and pronounced when there are concealments, when there's the distance. That's why the soul is able to arrive to the ultimate state of beauty and attractiveness when the soul is down here. But now comes the Rebbe and asks a very powerful question. This is all fine and good so far as what's concerned love. We understand that concealments bring out the love in a far more powerful way. But what did we say just now? We said B'nai Yerushalayim means what? Daughters of Jerusalem. What is Yerushalayim? We said Yerushalayim, the perfect state of Yiras Hashem, and which exists as the soul is above. How does this, if we take this and superimpose it concerning Yira, awe of God, it would seem that that's not the case. How does awe of God also come to a greater state of beauty, specifically when the soul is down here? That's the question that Rebbe addresses in chapter 3. However, we need to understand It would seem the added quality that is accomplished, that the soul gains through descending down here. Which is what? What's the added quality that the neshama gains, the soul gains by coming down here? That as a result of the covers and the concealments. The soul is awakened with a thirst and a love, like coals of fire, a hot love, passion to God. So it would seem that this is relevant only concerning love. We understand that concealments awaken a far more passionate desire to godliness. But concerning the matter of awe, that is greater when the soul is above. Why? How does awe work? When is one inspired with awe? Awe comes as a result of recognition and feeling the exaltedness of that which you are in awe of. You have to feel and recognize the power, the greatness of that. Right? It's only through this that a person is awakened with awe. If you don't recognize the authority, as it were, if you don't recognize the greatness of that which causes you the awe, then there's no awe. There's no fear. And where does the neshama recognize the greatness and the exaltedness of godliness? More. This idea of recognizing and feeling the exaltedness, the greatness of godliness is where? Far more powerful when the soul is above. Because since above, the soul when it is above, is in a domain where there are revelations of godliness, godliness is revealed, over there the soul could feel the exaltedness of the godliness. And through this, the yira, the awe comes about. Which is not the case when the soul is down here. Because as we just said, when the soul is down here, there are concealments and covers. Where there are no revelations, etc. So it would seem that there isn't the revelation that should inspire the soul with awe. So how, concerning the yira, do we have a greater quality that is possessed when the soul comes down here? It would seem that concerning yira, awe, it's the other way around. The Eitzah is even more so, says the Rebbe. The Rebbe carries on in articulating this question, emphasizing the question. Concerning love, it is enough that the person understands and comprehends that which the person loves. A person is naturally drawn to something that could bring him benefit. Therefore, once the person recognizes and understands, comprehends that godliness is good for him, he'll be awakened with love. But concerning fear, it's not enough that you should comprehend that this is something that one should be inspired with awe. Before something, this is something one should fear. It's not enough that you understand that. One needs to recognize and be connected to the one of whom one fears. It's not enough to know that there is a king that is all powerful and so on and so forth. I have to be connected to the king. If I live in one country and there's a fearful ruler in another country, that won't inspire me with fear. I won't be afraid of him because I'm not connected to him. You need to be connected to the one that inspires the fear. What's the reason? Because what is the idea of yira? Yira, awe, is bittul, nullification. Love is the other way around. Love is an expression of one's existence. Right? I love. So I'm inspired with love. Yira is the other way around. Fear is putting myself aside. Bittul, nullification. It's the opposite of the person's existence. The person sets himself aside. Therefore, it is not enough for the person to understand and comprehend that this is something that I should fear. In addition to that, there needs to be hakara, the hiskashos dafka, there needs to be a recognition and a connection to that which the person fears. And to get to that, when we talk about Hashem, one needs to work hard, one needs to toil, to inspire oneself down here, the neshama, to inspire oneself with fear. It doesn't come easily. Yiras Hashem is something that we need to work at. Okelosh and Chazal, and as the expression of our sages, of our teachers, this is from Reishis Chochmah, the Alter Rebbe brings it in Igeres HaKodesh, when the soul comes above, it is asked, did you work, did you toil in fear of God? Did you work? Did you serve Hashem with fear? Did you work hard to attain this level of fear? And woe unto the soul, unto the flesh, that did not toil with awe. So what do we see? We see from this expression that Yira is something we need to work at. It doesn't come naturally. It's something that one needs to really, really work hard in order to attain that level, to attain the awe. The brackets that it says, which is not the case concerning love, which comes as a result of understanding and comprehension alone. So therefore, we don't need so much toil and work in order to get to the level of love. It's much easier to arrive at loving Hashem than to fearing Hashem. It comes more natural, because love is the idea of focusing on the existence of the person recognizing this is good for me, and a person naturally aspires to things that are good for him. Whereas when we talk about, we have to set ourselves aside in order to attain that.
But the point you've been making before is that there's much more concealment of love. Black and comedy.
Well, there's concealment in both. The neshama, the way it's down here, is in a domain and in a situation of concealment. Godliness is concealed. The neshama, the way it is above, is in an environment where godliness is revealed. Down here, it's an environment where godliness is concealed. How does that concealment affect love and fear? Obviously, the love will not down here. The love of the neshama down here will not be as strong as the love of the neshama up there. But it's easier to come to love Hashem. But now we're talking about the neshama down here. Ahava and Yira. The neshama down here needs to have love and fear of Hashem. Which is easier to attain? Love. And, as you just said, there's an added quality, specifically attained in the love of Hashem, as the neshama is down here. Over and above, the love of Hashem as the neshama is up there, in Malchus Atzilus. What is that? In the thirst to godliness, in the passion of the love, which is far more powerful down here. Now the question is, what is the added quality so far as fear of God is concerned down here? It would seem that concerning fear, it's the other way around. You can't have fear with passion. What added quality does the neshama attain in terms of fearing Hashem when it comes down here over and above the fear of Hashem that the neshama has l'mayla? That's the question. Umizem, moving from all this is understood. From all this is understood that the main concept of fearing Hashem is relevant specifically when the neshama is above. The kivin since above there is the idea, the godliness is revealed. Therefore, the recognition and the connection to godliness becomes more revealed and more powerful. You up there, the soul has the circumstances or the requirements, the circumstances necessary to inspire awe. What is that? It would seem that the key to inspiring awe is revelation. Why? Because in order to have awe, you need to have recognition and connection to that which you fear. And in order for that to take place, that which you fear needs to be revealed. And where is that? Above. Not so below. When the neshama comes, which is not the case when the neshama comes down. When godliness is not revealed, and that revelation seems to be the key through which one comes to this recognition and connection, which is vital for awe. If that's the case, how can the soul down here come to have awe of godliness? Okay, we'll stop here, and you'll have to wait until tomorrow to see where we go with this.